Hello everybody, it's Organ Talk. It's a very cold day here in Kaliningrad today, and I'm just waiting for you to come see me and see Monsieur Frédéric Blanc. Bonjour, hello Monsieur Blanc. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, from the organ. How beautiful is that? Thank you so much. I actually have to say thank you not only for having time today, but also for this time when you let me record the YouTube video at Notre Dame d'Auteuil, because it was something which impacted my life a lot. Having this video changed a lot for me, and you're a part of that, so I'm very, very grateful.
I am happy because you liked the organ very much, and you played very well. It was very nice playing, and I liked very much your interpretation of the Vierne Toccata. And you played it beautifully on this wonderful instrument.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I actually have many questions about your instrument also, because it impressed me so much.
Yes.
You know, when we talk about the organs in Paris, we usually talk about Saint-Clotilde, Notre Dame, Saint-Sulpice, but not like Notre Dame d'Auteuil. Having such an amazing instrument, it's not always the first instrument we think about talking about Paris, but I feel like nowadays it's getting more and more popular.
The organ is now very famous because the story of the organ is already very nice, but the last restoration transformed the organ extraordinary way, and we are very happy now to have such beautiful restored organ. And it's very interesting because we have all the pipes of Cavaillé-Coll and Glotton de Bière. It has been mixed together in an extraordinary way, but the organ has something very interesting, in the same time poetry and power. And electropneumatic action, you can do a lot of things with combination action, but the sound is fantastic. The balance of the sound.
Yeah, and actually thanks to your videos you're producing at Notre Dame d'Auteuil, it's getting more and more well known. People get to know it all across the world because it's an amazing instrument. For me, it's like the perfect organ I would like look for, because it has all the contemporary features, still keeping this amazing ground romantic sound. It's so beautiful.
You know, it's very difficult to describe and to say why an instrument is beautiful. It is the same like a human being. Why is this person nice? You don't know. But what you know, what you are really convinced, it is the beauty of the human being, or the beauty of the piece of music, or the beauty of the organ. And it's beautiful. Why? We don't know. But we are sure it is beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. Without any doubts. I was looking through your biography and just thinking about what can I ask you, and I discovered, which I didn't know, shame on me, I didn't know that you were organist in Saint-Sernin in Toulouse.
I was assistant when I was the conservatory in Toulouse. And because I am originally from Bordeaux, and I had the luck to meet a very kind priest when I was student, and they need an organist for the choir organ at this time for some services. And of course, I had the possibility at this time to go to the organ at Saint-Sernin, at the main organ. And it was before the restoration. The organ was tired, but extraordinary sound, extraordinary balance. And at this time, because it was a famous man in Toulouse, Xavier Derras,
of course,
extraordinary musician, and he organized a lot for Toulouse, in Toulouse. And he invited a lot of very interesting musicians, very different kind of musicians. And I met there André Fleury and Madame Duruflé also, who gave a master class. And she remarked me, and she wanted to take me to Paris to become her student. And it was a turn in my life completely, because she helped me a lot to practice organ more seriously. because when you are gifted for improvisation, you don't practice so much. She helped me to realize really what the work at the organ was, and she was extraordinary musician, you know, extraordinary woman, fantastic performer, fantastic human being, but she was very exigent for her students, and I had to practice a lot and to work hard. But I like that very much because she was such a fantastic teacher. I learned a lot, you know.
Just to say to our viewers, because maybe you guys who are watching us, you don't know, there is a book came out in Toulouse just this year by Père Bachet with the documents of the life of Xavier Derras. It's a huge book. It's just amazing. It's just so interesting.
Yeah, the man was extraordinary because he was such an intelligent man and a huge culture, and he was a fantastic player before his accident. Extraordinary organist, but also a man who didn't have, how to say, he was not focused on only one field. He was able to invite in Toulouse a lot of artists, specialized, every artist in the Baroque or Romanticism, symphonics, and Xavier Derras did an extraordinary job in Toulouse for the restoration of all the instruments with its own, for each instrument, character. And he was unique, and he invited also these musicians to perform and to teach. It was each year a summer academy, and a lot of artists from all over the world came there in Toulouse. And it was during this session that I had the luck to meet this artist that I mentioned to you, André Fleury, who was a student of Eugène Gigoux, Louis Vierne, Tournemire, and Dupré. The man was extraordinary, perhaps one of the most fantastic organists in France. He was a very distinguished man and very human and very special person. And after Madame Duruflé came, after the death of her husband, she came to Toulouse to teach also. And that's where I met her.
Okay. Oh, this is so nice to hear all those names together.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned the improvisation, and I actually have a question which one of our viewers sent in before. The question is, he says, I listened to you at Saint Clotilde before the at the Mass before the concert Hommage à Tournemire by Olivier Penin last year, and he admired your improvisation for the communion.
Okay.
He asked where comes this talent to improvisation? Where from? And do you teach improvisation? What is your relation to the improvisation? This is
it's an interesting question. I would like to say very honestly that at the beginning it's a gift that you receive. When I was a child, I started to play on my own without to know music on the keyboard and the piano, and step by step in a small organ in the village where my parents lived. And I was very touched by the sound of the organ. The sounds, different stops, very different than the piano, with different possibilities, and the pedal. And I started to improvise like that. You know, I think all the improvisers who have a certain level, they are autodidact. They started to practice like that. Somebody said, and I like that very much, that you can't learn to improvise. You have the gift at the beginning, and after you practice it, you know?
Yeah.
And myself, I must say, I have a lot of students, and especially for outside, for international countries, and I am very happy to teach improvisation and also French music. But for improvisation, I can't I can't teach them to have ideas. Yes. The ideas, they come from your own sensitivity, your own culture, all the music that you like. Piano music, orchestral music, organ music, everything. Also the music that you learn at the organ. You must just have a different analyze, not just reading the notes, but to try to understand why is this harmony nice? How does it function? It is also connected with the harmony before, with the harmony after. And you have to write that, to learn that by memory, and also to repeat that and to transpose these harmonies. But you have also to practice forms, very well-structured forms, to learn to make your music short, not too long, and also to be able to do classical forms.
Oh, yeah,
if you do, for example, classical suite or prelude and fugue or symphony, scherzo, andante, all the classical forms, after you are able to do more and more and more, a lot, But at the beginning, it's very interesting to do some very, very small forms, to improvise a small prelude, a small communion, But in this small form, it must be a beginning, a development, and the end. Very easy forms. And you take a theme, and you try to use really the theme, not to improvise on your own, just real fantasy, what you have, but to try to build a real piece, which must give the illusion of a written piece. Of course, improvisation will be never a composed piece. Yeah. But in the construction of your creation, of your improvisation, you must give the impression of something organized, also if it is improvised,
Yes, yes. And this is the hardest part.
It is very difficult because it must be structured, but this freedom and this imagination must stay always in the improvisation.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I have some questions, some nice messages, I think, here from our viewers. We have Emmanuela Raquelin who says coucou à vous. And we also have Eric Melesson who says he hopes you're doing well in the spirit, and he says greetings from Holland to you.
That's kind.
So we have
hello to them.
We'll say hello to everybody who are watching us. We'll take a moment to say thank you for watching today, and I'm very happy that we all are here together. I wanted to ask you, you have an organ academy. Do you teach in Notre Dame d'Auteuil in summer?
Yes. If everything is fine, I will teach this summer, July 13th, 14th, and 15th.
I'm writing down. People, write down. July?
Yes, in July. It will be Notre Dame d'Auteuil. Everybody will be welcome, because my purpose is not to make something too much delimited, but to help really young organists. It will be focused on French music, because with such an extraordinary organ, we can do everything we want. Franck, of course, with the fantastic swell, the poetry of the swell, and the foundations. And also Vierne, Vidor, Dupré, Duruflé, all the neoclassical French Parisians who are so interesting. And of course, improvisation too. And I will take everybody at his own level, What I would like to do would be really to help everybody to be at his best.
That's great. We have a message from one of our viewers who said, if you have if you could, because the sound is not good, there is someone saying that.
Okay, I will. I go to take my headphones.
Thank you. Because for me, sound is just perfect, but maybe for our viewers, there is an echo sound around.
Okay.
I think we're all so lucky to talk to you today. It's so interesting, and already within first 10 minutes, we are all just so much into it. We have a message from Matthias from Buenos Aires, who said he met you in 2015 and thanks you for...
Yes, I think he is in Argentina.
Yes, exactly.
He is organist on very interesting instruments built by Cavaillé Coll, I think.
Is it Merklin? Mutin, I think. Matthias, write us which organ. Is the biggest organ of Mutin? I can be wrong. But it's
I think
a big
very interesting organ, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I hope the sound is better now for everybody. I was actually really looking forward to ask you. Yeah, Matthias writes it's a Mutin from 1912. Yes. It's the biggest Mutin organ, I think. It's the biggest Mutin organ outside of France.
It doesn't work with the headphones.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Sorry, guys. We'll have a little bit of the echo, but we'll still
I can
hear
just
everything.
reduce. I can just reduce my level.
I just hope you will hear us well. You will hear me well. Yeah, we have Matthias who says that he has the biggest organ, biggest Mutin organ outside of France.
Yes. I think it's a very beautiful organ, and Matthias does a good job there in Argentina. Yes.
Oh yeah, it's great. I was really looking forward to ask you such a thing because you mentioned Madame Duruflé and you mentioned André Fleury, who is, I mean, if you look at André Fleury, he goes all the way to César Franck, so he was...
Yes, because he was the assistant of Charles Tournemire in Sainte Clotilde.
Yeah.
Between 23 and 1930, when he was appointed at the organ at Saint-Augustin.
Yeah, and afterwards, I think he was the cathedral in the Versailles.
He told me very much about the organ at Saint Clotilde at this time, and he said it was extremely beautiful. The organ was a dream as a sound, the sound.
Oh, yeah.
It was possible to do a lot of combinations of sound according to him. And he liked very much too the organ of Notre Dame. He said Notre Dame, the organ, the Cavaillé Coll original organ was extraordinary. And Saint Clotilde too. And he was connected also with Franck because his first teacher, Henri Le Tocard, was a student of Franck.
Yeah.
And Michel Chapuis told me when I knew Fleury, he said to me that when he was young, he went to Saint-Augustin very often to listen to Fleury playing César Franck and the symphonic music, you know. André Fleury was the finest, perhaps one of the 2-3 finest organists of his time. And he was composer too, very sensitive and brilliant artist. I was very much influenced by him.
Yeah, I also mentioned he was a titular organist in the Cathedral of Versailles, which is so dear to my heart, which has this big Cavaillé Coll organ.
Yes. Yeah. He was at Saint-Augustin first, after he went to Dijon Cathedral, and after he came back to be organist at Saint-Eustache and Versailles Cathedral. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What amazing instruments and amazing
Yes. Very nice organ.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you because I was thinking a lot about Marcel Dupré actually, because if you see nowadays, all the greatest musicians are students of the students of the students of Dupré. So we have in the 20th century, Marcel Dupré took over the pedagogic system in France and maybe in the whole world, because he had students coming from all over the world. And I was curious to know, from your experience, starting with André Fleury and Madame Duruflé, how much of this Dupré method they will give you and use?
Okay. Yeah. Yes. First of all, Dupré was a student of Widor and Guillemant. And Guillemant and Widor started to make a huge structure in the teaching of organ in France, you know. Mm-hmm. And Franck, it was completely different. Franck was a pianist, he was an improviser, he was a composer. And everybody said that the class of Franck was very much improvisation and free inspiration. But Franck, I think, was not so well structured as Guillemant and particularly Widor. And Marcel Dupré continued and made even more structured all the teaching of Guillemant and Widor, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Dupré, when he played, was able to be much more free, according to his own students, than his own teaching. His own teaching was very strict, or very scholastic, but was a little bit rude, you know, in this technique, in this direction. He wanted the students to play every week a piece by memory, by head. Mm-hmm. He wanted also for the improvisation, which was very good, really fantastic cerebral organization, especially for the fugue. You had the free theme, you had the Gregorian accompaniment, and you had also the fugue with obligation to treat with a contra-subject. Okay. But all the students who told me about Dupré said that he was not really a teacher for interpretation.
Okay.
Madame Duruflé told me, Jean Guillou, Suzanne Chesmartin, André Fleury, he wanted just the text of the pieces, perfect, correct, played with his own system, own codes. Mm-hmm. But when the piece was played, he didn't say so much. I think it was the legato and the staccato. Mm-hmm. If it was played by memory, by head, it was okay. And the students who entered at the class at the conservatory in Paris were supposed to be able, when they entered, to go out. They were already good musicians, good technicians. And I think the teaching of Dupré was a good school of memory, of technique. But for music, I don't know. For example, Madame Duruflé was shocked because one day, Dupré asked her, when she played the BACH of Liszt, just to play en mesure, not to make rubato. No rubato, no rubato, no rubato. And when you listen to Marcel Dupré playing César Franck, it's absolutely terrible. It's exactly the nonsense of the essence of Franck. But Dupré was excellent for the big pieces, the big Bach at Saint-Sulpice, the Grand Pièce Symphonique of Franck. He was the man of the big pieces, with great architecture of the sound, you know. Mm. But one thing which was interesting, it was that Dupré wanted each student to play, okay, legato or staccato in his own style, you know, with his own rules, but he gave just a structure of mental structure, and a way to play, a way to practice, but it didn't give a way for interpretation. And that's why, that's my explanation. All his students who had such an extraordinary level as musicians are organists, but are musicians as musicians too, because they were composers, they were improvisers. Each had his own personality. You know, Jean Langlais played differently than Jean Guillou. Michel Chapuis played completely differently than Odile Pierre.
My
Madame
biggest shock
Duruflé
is
played completely differently than Suzanne Chase-Martin. Jean-Jacques Grunenwald played certainly completely differently, like as Messiaen. You know, all these people were true artists, and they had all their own individuality and inspiration and imagination. And that's why I think Dupré didn't break them their own sensitivity. They just give them rules. But now, when we see the history of music and teaching, I am not sure that music is done only with rules. You know, we have to know everything a lot. We have to have a lot of culture, a big culture, literature. Horowitz told about that very well. Yes. Literature, painting, museum, music, orchestral music, piano, to read all the organ music that you like, and also the one that you don't like. And after you make your own opinion, you must know a lot. You have to go to all concerts, piano concerts, orchestral concerts, organ concerts. It's so good to go to listen to the other organists. Yeah. And after you make your own opinion and you play just as you want. For example, I regret that sometimes the organist is not very tolerant because everybody says, I am the best, or everybody says, I know the truth. No, there is, each musician has his own story. And from the moment the interpretation has good sense, is musical, is emotional, also if it is not your style, you have to have the honesty to say it's nice. You know?
Thank you for saying that.
we must be more free, you know? Yeah. All the rules and all the wrong traditions have killed step by step the organ. And I am very sad to see that some young people, not all, but some young organists, they play all the same. For Bach, for example, always the same registration, always the same, because rules, tradition, what is written. But no. We have to know everything, and after, we have to change our interpretation. Today it's like that, tomorrow it will be different. Today we have this organ, tomorrow we have another organ, you know? Sometimes Frank wants the Vox Humana for the second choral of the Fantasy in A. Yeah. But sometimes you don't have the Vox Humana, or you have horrible Regal. You don't have to put that. It will be much better with Bourdon and Tremolant, or with Voix Céleste and Tremolant, than horrible Cromorne or horrible Vox Humana, too much neo-baroque, you know? Yeah. What I would like to explain, it is that for the French music, very often, l'esprit est plus important que la lettre. The spirit is more important than the letter, you know, than exactly to respect. Sometimes we are much more respectful of the spirit of the composer to do something completely different as what is written than exactly the thing. And, you know, we know that Duruflé, in his own works, he has changed a lot. And sometimes when you listen to him or his wife playing, it's completely different than what is written. Also, Olivier Messiaen, you know, the book of Olivier Latry and his colleague from the Trinité. Loïc Mallier, they have written an extraordinary book proving that Messiaen changed a lot his registration. All these composers, they liked the color of the sound. They liked very much, how to say, how can I make my piece the most beautiful, you know? Sometimes the student, they say, oh, it is hautbois, we must have hautbois. No, it depends, you know?
Yeah, oh, thank you so much. I think we are all just so happy to hear this, because it's something everybody is thinking about, but it's really so great to have you said these things.
I am always okay to discuss, but I don't imagine what I say. I say that because I saw Madame Duruflé make her registrations. I saw Fleury, I saw a lot of organists, and I talked with a lot of musicians. And myself, excuse me, but I have played quite a lot of instruments.
Sure.
And when you are in this situation, you are obliged to change, but you stay in the same spirit, you know. I give you an example. The beginning of the prelude of Maurice Duruflé, the prelude of the suite, Opus 5. Yeah. He writes on the swell, foundations 8 and basson au bois. But Madame Duruflé told me, yes, he liked very much this color of hautbois, but the hautbois must be very soft, very not aggressive. The hautbois doesn't have to speak with the nose, you know. Yeah. If the hautbois is too clear, Maurice Duruflé didn't use it, and it was only foundations 8. And you know, that is confirmed with his own recording in the Soissons Cathedral. When you record his prelude, he doesn't use the hautbois because it was a neoclassical instrument from Victor Gonzalez, and this organ had a lot of foundations 8 and the swell. Yeah. You don't need to use the hautbois because when you do the crescendo, the swell is big enough to be with this sonority of foundation 8. And for Franck, it is the same. If the hautboy at the swell for Franck is too big on this or this organ, you just do with foundation 8.
Yeah. What is impressive about Franck, he writes in his chorales, for example, in his first chorale, trompette et hautbois together, but actually in Saint-Clotilde, trompette and hautbois were very soft.
Yes.
So André nowadays Marchal, you cannot put the both of them.
André Marchal taught something very interesting. We have to remember always. Franck made his own registration for the organ of Saint-Clotilde, which had a very special swell. The very soft. The hautboy was like a gambe. The gambe was very, very thin. You know, the trumpet was like a gambe. The hautboy was like a gambe. Everything was softer. That's why when you play, for example, the adagio of the third choral, it depends. On some cavalier organs, the mix flute, bourdon, gambe, trumpet, hautbois will sound perfectly. With another organ, it would be terrible. Too big, too not good balance. You have to take the trumpet if the trumpet is not too big, or the hautbois with flute and gambe, or the hautbois with flute and bourdon. Each time you must transpose. You know, each organ is like a new person, and you have to really to adapt. You have to know very, very well the style of the composer, the life of the composer, and the style of what was the purpose when he composed this piece. And for example, with the third choral, it's a solo, it's a voice solo, it's a singer, it's a soloist. It's sure that Franck wants really a solist, a trumpet or a hautbois, something very expressive, and you must do that. But sometimes people were too much to follow the rule, follow what was written, and they made the nonsense exactly nonsense with what the composer, the idea of the composer. And I would like to talk a lot about that when I will teach in July in Notre Dame d'Auteuil to the students. And I would like also to organize a session here in my home with recordings with old organists, because I am convinced that the organists of the old time were much more connected with the source, with the composers than we are. When Fleury, Marshall, Duruflé, and so on, and Tournemire played, for example, Franck or Vierne playing, it is really interesting to a lot of information of the style, you know. There is an extraordinary recording of a Bach choral played by Louis Vierne at Notre Dame. Herzlich tut mich verlangen. You are, of course, we don't play like that anymore, but there is a fantastic line and sensitive playing, and we are very much touched by the intention of Vierne, you know. Before you ask me another question, I would like to talk also about something very subtle at the organ. It is le toucher à l'orgue.
Yes.
Because I noticed, especially with the young organists, that there are so many extraordinary talented and gifted. And generally, the good organists who can really make music with the organ, they have something different, you know. If you play just the notes, excellent technique at the organ, it is good, but it is cold. There is no interpretation. The music stays cold. The only way that we have at the organ to make the music alive, with sensitivity, with subtlety, it is the duration of each note between each note. And I listen to an organist in 5 seconds. I am able to see if this organist is a musician or not. Because if the organist is a musician, he will always deal with the subtlety of durations of note, which makes the subtlety of the playing. If the organist plays just correctly, the notes, everything perfect, it will be good, but it will be not sensitive and emotional, you know. And that's why I will talk also about that during the master class. The way to make the organ sing, and with each action, you can do that with an electropneumatic action, with a Barker machine, with a mechanic. You must really sculpt your sound at the organ. You are like a sculptor, you know. Yeah. If you understand that, you understand everything, you know.
Yeah, you know who actually recently impressed me really a lot with his touch and his work with the time? It was Ben van Osten, who played in Notre Dame d'Auteuil. I was there, and it was incredible.
Ben van Osten played at Auteuil for some weeks, a fantastic concert with the Fifth Symphony of Vierne.
Yeah, it was.
And it was amazing because his playing was full of subtlety and sensitivity. I had the impression that we were totally with the piece itself, with the music, with the composer, and I didn't have the impression that he said, "I am the player." No. I didn't feel any bad and wrong ego in his music. We were completely connected with Vierne, with the pure essence of his music.
Yeah, it's true.
Because his playing is so, you know, it would be certainly impossible to copy him, because Ben, he plays like Ben. Everybody must play like his own. But there are some things that we can listening others musicians and learn a lot. But myself now, I noticed very quickly if the organist is musician or not.
Okay, guys, you have a moment to ask your questions too, because I have many of them, but I'm sure you want to ask also something. So don't hesitate to write your question in the comments. I actually would love to go back and mention about the students of Marcel Dupré and the diversity. What impresses me a lot is that Jean Guillou and Luigi Ferdinando Tagliavini actually graduated the same year.
Yes.
Together, and they're polar opposites.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, but it is good. It is good.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Do you remember Michel Chapuis? He was born in 1930, and it
Yeah.
is the same year as was born Jean Guillou. And they were in two different worlds, you know? But that's
Yeah.
what I like. Everybody has his own story, his own culture, his own influence. You know, Michel Chapuis was born in a village, in a small town in Dole. And there it was a fantastic old organ of the 17th, 18th century, of a masterwork. And he was influenced by that. And when Jean Guillou was a child, he was a pianist. And he was also improviser very, very soon. And he played his own church in Angers. And his harmonic world was completely different. He went to study with Messiaen and with Duruflé, harmony. You know, and after, when he was very young, he started to compose also very original music, you know. And it's normal that each student of Dupré had their own personality, their own sensitivity. And after this teaching, very, very severe, very structured, very theoretical of Dupré, after the conservatory, everyone could go his own way. And that's why all talented students of Marcel Dupré went their own way, and they were with their own personality and so interesting. Every student of Dupré was different and interesting. Somebody asked me about Jeanne de Monsieur. I didn't meet her, but I heard a lot very good things through my friend Pierre Labrique, who is an extraordinary musician, who was his own student, and also through Madame Duruflé, who was also her student before to enter at the class of Marcel Dupré. Jeanne de Monsieur was extraordinary. She has a fantastic technique, and I think she suffered a little bit because she studied with Dupré after the conservatory, and Dupré wanted to teach her a lot, and I think she could have started her own career more quick. And I think it was a failure from Dupré because he wanted to give her unique technique, and you know, in my mind, Dupré was perhaps stayed too much the teacher with her. And I think she was more happy when she started her own career, and she could really express her unique talent playing everywhere after when she was not anymore the student of Dupré. But by the way, I don't want to critique Dupré because he was certainly a unique Pygmalion for her. But I think she had very special gifts, you know. She had a phenomenal memory. She could practice, she could learn a piece very quickly, and after to play it, to perform it. And she was also a composer, you know, she composed some pieces which are interesting. And also a poem for orchestra and organ, which is really, really, really nice. It is a little in the style of Ravel and Debussy, you know. She was an extraordinary musician.
Yeah, we all can imagine. Talking about Dupré and his teaching, actually, I know that from time to time you play at Meudon.
Yes, sometimes I have the opportunity to play on this organ.
What do you think about this instrument?
I played last year, and I will play next year for the anniversary of the death of Dupré. I will play some pieces of Dupré and also some pieces of his masters, Guillemot, Franck, Vidor, people who influenced him very much. I liked much this organ in Meudon. A lot of people don't like this organ, but I like it because I think it's a prototype, you know.
Yeah.
With this sostenutos, the possibility to cut the pedal and to make an orchestration in your improvisation. I like that very much in the way Dupré wanted really an orchestral organ. That was very nice. Perhaps I could say that at this time, when Dupré and Bochet de Bière did that, the technique was not so high level. That's why also the organ now is perhaps not at his best state, but the owner at the time, he does his best to promote the organ and to organize some concerts with organists. And I think it's a good thing because also, you know, the room is very interesting. The way how Dupré worked that, it was a big hall with wood sculptures, and Dupré liked very much to organize small private concerts with his students, with friends. And Dupré was famous at this time. He was connected with all the famous musicians. He was not famous just into the organ world. He was connected with such extraordinary personalities like Wilhelm Kempff, who came to visit him. And also a lot of Russian composers and performers. Rachmaninoff came to visit him. He was very good friend. And also Nicolas Metner.
Yes. Oh, yes. They have a special connection.
He was the godfather of the daughter of Dupré, and she studied also with Metner. And he knew Paderewski, he knew Alfred Cortot, he knew Glazunov also.
Yes.
Dupré was really connected with a lot of personalities, like at his time Vidor was. Because, you know, Vidor was not only the organist of Saint-Sulpice, he was an official man, official position. He was secrétaire perpétuel de l'Académie des Beaux-Arts. He knew a lot of politics, a lot of actors, a lot of singers, opera singers. It was connected with all the music world. And with Dupré, it was the same. Dupré was so famous as an organist, but Dupré was also a pianist, he was a composer. And he was connected with all the people. That's why in Meudon, he received the visit of many, many distinguished composers, you know.
You know, talking about this, because I had a chance to go to Meudon last year and play this instrument.
Very nice.
And yeah, it's so great. And I was so impressed because for me, it was, let's say, an instrument created by someone who was looking towards the future, trying to find new ways of using the organ. At the same time, when nowadays we are mostly looking towards the past.
Some people, not everybody. Some people like very much the Baroque and classical organ. It's good because, you know, this cut was necessary because, for example, Dupré was not so much interested in the old music. You know, he said to his student, "Oh, don't practice it. You just have to read it, and this music is not so." He didn't have interest so much, and you know. Everything what Michel Chapuis has done and Isoire, Chaplet, all these people, they have recreated the interest for this kind of organ of this music. It's very nice, but it's not the only music in France. There are music after. We have Franck, we have the French composers with Vidor, Vierne, and all the neoclassical. It is a part of history of organ music in France, and Jean Alain and Messiaen, and it's very important, you know. But I think all these people like Chapuis, Isoire, chapelet, they liked very much all the music which was good, you know. They were extraordinary musician, complete musician with extraordinary taste. And when the music was good, they said it's good. But à propos Dupré, you asked me about this organ. He wanted really to make a new instrument. Of course, he was completely connected with the Cavaillé-Coll organ tradition. For him, the Cavaillé-Coll was the base. Mm-hmm. But step by step, he came back from England, from America, and he discovered the Willis organ, the Skinner organs. And he wanted really an organ more supple. But the base was Cavaillé-Coll. And after, he wanted to have more boxes, more, you know, he wanted to transform the organ in a big orchestra with a lot of possibilities and a lot of, and it was interesting. But the only thing was that at this time, the organ building was not so good, you know. When they had some small mixtures at this time in the swell, in the Cavaillé-Coll or Nazar tierce, the idea was interesting, but the size of the pipes, it was impossible to connect all these Baroque stops with the Cavaillé-Coll organs. When they built a new neoclassical organ, it was much better because it was a unity, you know.
We have a question from Alex, who asked, "What is your favorite stop at Notre Dame d'Auteuil?"
Oh, it's difficult to say, you know. We have a fantastic flute harmonic in the swell, in the grate. We have the cromon, which is a clarinet. We have the voix humaine. We have all the foundations 8 together. We have the fantastic strings in the swell, in the positive. There are so many stops. No, I like really all the organ. This is really, really extraordinary instrument.
Yeah. You showed me, as I was there, you showed me the ondulant, which is incredible.
Yeah.
I tried to recreate it somewhere, but I couldn't.
Because they are very poetic, you know.
Yeah.
But this organ speaks also with the acoustic, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's a miracle because Cavaillé-Coll in each church was able to analyze the acoustic of the church. And after he made the disposition of his instrument, really, the stops, each time different. He was really genius because he was not only an artist, he was also a technician. But he couldn't be only a technician and only an artist. He had the both together. And some people said, "Oh, the Cavaillé-Coll organ, it's boring." No. Each Cavaillé-Coll organ is different because he had people with him who worked. Some people were specialized to build a flute harmonic. Some people at the Cavaillé-Coll atelier were specialized for the Barker machine. You know, each people who worked with him were really specialized in his own field. And Cavaillé-Coll was the boss, and he was really able to create, you know, each time a different instrument. That's why, and he had also the luck to have the industry, the 19th industrial revolution, but he stayed really a man of handwork. You know, he was not industrial because all his organs are really masterworks of a genius who creates really each time something with unity.
We have a question from Matthias. We actually have only 5 minutes because after an hour we'll be disconnected, and it's been 55 minutes. I didn't notice how fast it was. So we have a question. Please tell us about the Duruflé's home organ. And who built this organ behind you?
I can show a little bit.
Oh yes,
this
please.
This is an organ built between 1955 and 1967. Mm-hmm. The beginning of the story was very funny because Madame Duruflé was cold and she didn't want to go to the church anymore to practice because she was not so happy. She said, "Oh, it's too cold." And you know, the apartment where I live now is very small. And when she asked Maurice Duruflé to build an organ, he was furious. He said, "You are crazy. It's not big enough." But step by step, Duruflé was always the man of the reflection, you know. And he started to make some plans. And step by step, he made the plans to build a house organ, which is really much too big for the apartment, but very good. And it was built by Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. And Duruflé stayed at the bench to make the intonation and the voicing with the organ builder inside. And when it was finished, he was very happy. And I can say that this organ is really reflects really the personality of Duruflé, with the fantastic voix céleste, chromorne, cornet, flute, very soft, very raffinated. This organ is really completely connected with his spirit and with own tonal and inspiration world. He was very happy. When he had the organ, he started again to improvise. And Madame Duruflé told me he was such a happy man having this organ finally at home.
Oh, great. Can you actually play this organ at home? Or your neighbors are...
Oh, I play every day and I teach there sometimes. When I can't go to Auteuil, we play here. And no, it's not so loud, you know. It's not so loud instrument. Okay. It's very well, really, very well intonation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure your neighbors have to be happy listening to the beautiful music every day.
Oh, you know, at the moment I studied the second chorale of Franck, and I repeat. Yeah. But it's such a extraordinary masterwork. I don't stop. I practice.
Yeah. I think in the second chorale you can practice the first, like the theme at the beginning, 1,000 times.
Oh yes. Yeah. But each passage, each page of this chorale is fantastic. You go deep inside you know. You learn a lot about yourself when you play these pages. You learn a lot. You have the desire to do better. You learn. You come back to more humility. You know, because you are never finished with such a piece.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I have to say at this point we have maybe 1 minute left, so we have time to say thank you, Monsieur Blanc, for sharing this time with us and for everything you said. I'm so happy to see you here. It was really a big pleasure to talk to you and to
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me, and I hope to see you soon in France.
I hope it too. I hope the borders will be open soon. And guys, don't forget about the amazing academy at Notre Dame d'Auteuil in summer. So because I'm sure it's an amazing opportunity, and if I will be able to be in France, I will be there too.
Thank you very much. It's open to all people, all level. The only purpose is to be improved and to try to understand better the French music and the way to be improved for improvisation. But this fantastic organ will be a fantastic inspiration for each, I hope, I'm sure.
Promised. Thank you so much. Have a great, amazing day, and I hope to see you soon. And thank you everybody for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.